Hello everybody, my name is Steven and welcome back to the Storytime channel. Without wasting any time, let's get into our stories of the day. Slumlord lost his business over $300 security deposit. I rented a little house from a man who owned a painting business. The power was off when we came to see the property, but he assured us everything worked, even put it in the contract. The place was dirty and poorly maintained, so we negotiated the security deposit down to $300. Turned out the heat and air didn't work, along with the refrigerator and dishwasher. I asked him to have someone look at them. He cursed me up and down. He called and left threatening voicemails. He would show up unannounced and let himself in. On one of the visits, I showed him that the crawl space was flooded and was a breeding ground for thousands, if not millions, of cockroaches and mosquitoes that would come up through the floor vents. There was absolutely no ductwork, even though he claimed the heat and air worked fine. He accused me of causing the flood myself, even though I showed him the source was a pipe that had rusted through. He refused to address any problem and said, "If you don't like it, then you can move. You can't pay a bargain and expect to live in the Ritz." This man was a terrible man in general. Once he hired someone off Craigslist to cut down a tree in the rental property's yard. The man worked literally all day for the agreed $150, cut up and hauled off the tree. He came back that evening, just standing in the yard. I asked if I could help him. He said he was waiting for the owner to get paid. The owner kept replying saying he was on the way but never showed up. Our neighbor told us he had punched the previous renter in the face and refused to pay him for a day's work for his company. He had bragged about renting to illegal immigrants and not having to do anything because they wouldn't sue. We had a newborn baby, so we called his bluff and agreed to find a new place to live. We left the home in much better shape than we found it. He said he would email us the security deposit, but never did. He dodged my phone calls until one day he called to say, "You aren't gonna get back. You broke the contract when you left early, so go freak yourself." I was really upset because we were new parents and had very little money. That $300 was a big deal to us and a drop in the bucket for this man. He owned an upscale painting business and had 15 rental properties. The next week, I was online leaving negative reviews for his business when I clicked a link and noticed his website's domain had just lapsed. I knew what I had to do. I immediately bought it, then created a homepage with contact info for his biggest competitor. I emailed him his old domain, asking him if he wanted to buy the domain for $320, the cost of the security deposit plus the price I paid for the domain. He was irate. He started calling my work, threatening to sue my employer. He even contacted my parents and threatened to sue them. He left a bunch of threatening voicemails for me, saying he was gonna beat me up and he knows where I live and he has my social security number. I received emails from several review sites asking if I was trying to update the contact info for the business. He must have used his old domain's email as his contact email. I didn't want to get in trouble for impersonating his business, so I did not respond. The contact info was never changed. I received a few emails from potential clients. I called him and told him about the painting job requests. I gave him the contact info for one of the clients to prove I wasn't just making it up. I told him it was the last time I was going to do that for him and suggested he buy the website back in order to not miss out on any other jobs. He told me he was taking me to court. I told him I had recorded this threatening phone call. I told him I had recorded his threatening phone calls and saved all his texts and voicemails. He said he was going to sue me for illegally recording him. Not illegal in my state. I said, "I look forward to seeing you in court where I countersue and press charges for harassing me," and I hung up. He called back and cussed me out for hanging up on him. I said, "Call me back when you can speak respectfully to me," and hung up again. We repeated this about 5 times. Each time he was more angry until the last time. He spoke respectfully and explained he hadn't got a single job in months. I suggested he focus more on creating a website to find business. He lost it and cussed me out again. 6 months passed and he still hadn't bought the website for me. I get a call from him begging me to do the right thing and give him the website back. I told him the current price was $350. 6 months later, I get another phone call. I told him the current price is $380. Eventually, he texted me to say, "I went out of business, I hope you're happy." I responded, I hear having a website really helps your business. $380 and it's yours. He told me what a terrible person I am and said, karma's an idiot. I responded, maybe if you stopped trying to rip people off, your karma wouldn't be so bad. That was the last time I ever heard from him. The major business listing sites confirmed his business did indeed close. I renewed the domain for another 2 years, just in case he was bluffing. A few months later, I drove by his office to see if it was still there. It was empty with a for rent sign posted. I never got that $300 back and spent money on domain registrations, but it was totally worth it. If you were in this situation and the landlord refused to give you your security deposit back, what would be your course of action? Let me know what you would do or say in the comments below. My store manager put my health at risk. I made his life suck. I work in a grocery store. Due to COVID, we have governmental restrictions like no more than 50 people in a store. People need to be spread 6 feet apart, etc. Our chain has policies such as no group shopping. All other stores in this chain are following the rules and mine isn't. I get to work last week and I see huge families shopping and way more than 50 people in the store. I've had enough. We've all been complaining for a week or 2 now. No reduced hours, no enforcing any of the group shopping and capacity policies, etc. I page over the phone to have a manager to my department immediately. Someone comes and say they've all gone home. So I tell him to give me the store manager's number. I call him and ask why I see so many groups shopping and why I just saw a family of 4 go by and I can't go out onto the floor without people getting in my space. He tells me that we can't police people and I need to get back to work and mind my business. I tell him that it is my business, because you're letting in more people than absolutely necessary and putting my health at risk. He says some poop like, now you listen to me, and I black out on him. I give it to him worse than probably any employee ever has. I reamed him out for 15 minutes. I asked him if he understood the severity of the situation and why it seems to me like he's completely missing the point of everything here. I tell him I'd be fully within my rights to refuse to work and go home and the shop will be freaked unless he gets someone else to come clean it. He asks if I'm threatening him, and I just say no, I'm just a worker who knows my freaking rights. I then go to the sign at the front of the store and read out the policies. No more than 50 people in the store at a time. No group shopping, 1 family member only, keep 6 feet apart. Plain freaking English. What other interpretation of that is there? Please explain that to me. Here's what's going to happen. I don't work until next week. If I come in and I see group shoppers, I will exercise my right to refuse unsafe work under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Do you understand me? Yes or no? He gave a very sober, yes, I understand. I come into work today and I see group shoppers, and a whole entire freaking family of 5 swarmed around me while I was putting out meat. I looked around and saw the giant crowds. I called my union rep on the phone and went into the manager's office, closed the door, and sat down. I said, I spoke to you last week and I said if I saw group shoppers, I'd go home. I'm exercising my right to refuse unsafe work under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Unless you have questions, I'm going home now. He gives me a poop-eating grin and says, great, how long are you off for then? And I smiled back and said, what do you mean? That's your job. You really don't know how any of this works, do you? My union rep on speaker explains, what happens now is the complaint goes to the labor board. They'll send OH&S people to investigate the complaint, and due to the nature of the complaint, other people will probably investigate too for compliance with COVID restrictions. After they investigate, they'll determine if the complaint is valid. If it is, you're required to do what it takes to make it safe for the employee to return to work. Human Resources will probably have a meeting with you. I'm emailing them right now. There will likely be a union meeting too. The chain itself will probably also want to know why somebody actually went through with refusing to work and why the guidelines weren't being followed. And all employees in the chain will have to be notified of what all just happened. I got up and punched out and went home. I have a doctor's note for stress leave for 12 weeks. I'm not going to notify them until they already go through with all of the investigations and stuff. I'm 100% with OP in this situation. There's no reason why anybody working at a store should be forced to work in a situation that is not safe for them or people close to them regarding their health. A company gave out 10,000 flyers that had my phone number on them. This happened quite a long time ago when I had my first office job. I did fairly well and after a while was promoted and got my own room. With it came my own phone line. The day after it was installed, I arrived at work to find the message light blinking. I checked and the mailbox was full, with 20 messages. Odd, I thought. There must be some mistake. There sure was. Message after message from people wanting to book a chalet. While I was still checking the messages, calls started coming in. Hello? Yes, I want to book a chalet. Do you have one available for this weekend? You have the wrong number. Customer pauses for a moment. But this is XXX, right? No, this is an office in town. Customer pauses again. But the number is XXX. Yes, that is my number, but this is an office. We don't have anything to do with chalets. But I want to book a chalet. We don't do chalets. You have the wrong number. But your number is XXX, right? Yes, it's my number, but this is an office, not XXX. We don't do chalets. So the conversation went, and the moment I hung up, another call came in, and another. I had the phone off the hook all day. The next day, I decided to put the phone back. It rang immediately. Hello? Hello, I want to book a chalet. You have the wrong number. Is this XXX? Yes, that is my number, but this is not XXX. But the flyer has this number, XXXX. Flyer? What flyer? This flyer for a special offer on all chalets between these dates. So I ended the call and looked for the main line of XXX company. I called them and told them I couldn't do any work because of all the calls that were coming in, because they printed my number on all of their flyers. So you printed my number on your flyers, my phone is ringing nonstop. I can't get any work done. They say that is not possible. Do you have a flyer? Or the artwork? They say yes, I'll just have a look. And yes, is that my number on your flyer? Yes, it must have been a mistake. I'm sure it is. A big one. What are you gonna do? The flyers have all been given out. There's nothing we can do. How many flyers were printed? 10,000. They couldn't do anything. They didn't want to do anything. I asked them to pay for changing the line and they refused. They didn't offer anything and even asked me to direct all the callers to them the correct number. So I started answering all the calls. It took a week, but I told everyone we were fully booked till the end of the promotion. Honestly, I think OP let them off easy. OP could have said anything they wanted to these customers, and they wouldn't have been any the wiser. Yet all they said were they were booked until the end of the promotion, which, is still good. It kills the promotion that they spent for 10,000 flyers, but it probably could have been taken a little bit further and could have been taken a lot further if they wanted. But with that said, that's all the stories we have for today. So what I want to know is which of these stories was the most interesting to you and why? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you all so much for watching and listening to the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and don't forget to turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.